When it comes to understanding what truly draws a woman in, it's tempting to focus only on what's visible: appearance, charm, the right moves in bed. But in reality, the things that make a woman emotionally and physically crave a man run much deeper. They exist in the quiet spaces, the unspoken signals, the way he listens when she isn't speaking. What many men don't realize is this: desire for a woman isn't something that's simply triggered by a look or a touch. It's a response to how a man makes her feel when no one's watching, when there's no audience to impress, and when his actions are led by intention, not performance. It begins with presence. In a world full of distractions, a man who is fully present becomes rare and irresistible. Studies show that women feel most connected to a partner who pays attention to the small details: the shift in her tone, the way she unconsciously leans in when she feels safe, the subtle catch in her breath when something excites her. These things aren't always obvious, but a man who notices them speaks directly to the part of her that craves to be seen. A simple act, like brushing a loose strand of hair from her face while maintaining eye contact, without making it a performance, creates a moment she'll remember. Because it's not about what you say, it's about what you communicate without words. And here's a truth many men overlook: her body responds to safety before it responds to arousal. When a woman feels safe, emotionally and physically, her body naturally opens up to deeper sensations. This isn't just romantic talk, it's biological. The brain releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone, in response to trust and gentle touch. That's why something as simple as resting your hand on her lower back when walking together, or placing a warm palm against her neck in quiet moments, creates a surge of connection. What's often misunderstood is that the pathway to physical intimacy is emotional, even primal, for most women. Yes, she wants to be desired. Yes, she wants to feel sexy. But more than that, she wants to feel chosen, not as an object, not as a conquest, but as a woman worth slowing down for. A man who slows down, who notices, who's unafraid of silence. That's the kind of man she'll crave long after he's left the room. Take kissing, for example. It's not just about technique, it's about intention. A kiss on the lips is expected. A kiss on the wrist, the shoulder, the small of the back. Those gestures speak a language few men bother to learn, but every woman deeply understands. Around 94% of women report heightened arousal when kissed on the neck, not because it's forbidden or cliché, but because it's tender, vulnerable, intentional. That's the key word here: intentional. And the way a man approaches intimacy matters even more. It's not about performance, it's about presence. Many men feel pressured to impress, to prove something in bed, or to mimic what they think women want based on media and fantasy. But in truth, the most unforgettable experiences happen when both people feel emotionally safe enough to surrender to the moment. For example, many women experience heightened sensitivity during menstruation. Rather than shying away from intimacy during this time, a man who is patient, attentive, and unbothered by outdated taboos can offer a kind of closeness that is far more emotional than physical. It's in these tender, pressure-free moments that some of the deepest connections happen. And this brings us to something that still surprises a lot of men. Only 15 to 18% of women reach orgasm through penetration alone. The vast majority, nearly 80%, require focused clitoral stimulation to climax. This isn't a flaw. It's not a challenge. It's a beautiful invitation to slow down, to learn her body the way she learns yours. Because here's the thing: when a man takes the time to listen to a woman's body, rather than rushing to perform, he builds a level of trust that transforms physical intimacy into something sacred. There's no finish line in this kind of connection. It's not about making her come like it's an achievement. It's about being so tuned in, so present, that her pleasure becomes your shared language. And it doesn't end there. 40% of women wish their nipples received far more attention than they typically do. These overlooked details matter, because intimacy isn't a routine, it's a conversation. one that involves listening, learning, and responding with care. For couples in their 40s, 50s, and beyond, this becomes even more important. It's not about flashy moves or youthful stamina, it's about intimacy that deepens. That becomes richer, more meaningful, more emotionally fulfilling with every shared experience. One of the most powerful tools for deepening connection is sensory play, not in the way movies dramatize it, but in subtle, trust-building ways. A simple blindfold, a whispered word, the touch of fingertips on bare skin. These things heighten presence, amplify sensation, and tell her one thing: you are safe, I'm here, and you matter. Even the preparation for intimacy matters. A shared bath, a slow undress, a lingering gaze in the mirror. These rituals ground both of you in the moment, stripping away the noise of the day and building anticipation. Warm water increases blood flow to the skin, the breasts, the most sensitive areas of her body. But beyond that, it relaxes the mind. And when a woman's mind relaxes, her body naturally follows. Lubrication, for example, isn't just a physical necessity. It's an act of care. Using natural oils, warmed gently in your hands, transforms something clinical into something intimate. It's a small thing, but small things, when done with intention, leave the deepest marks, and positioning matters too. Spooning with its quiet closeness, standing with its shared control and deep connection. Face to face, where eye contact becomes the bridge between skin and soul. Each one offers a different kind of intimacy, one that goes far beyond sensation, because the most unforgettable moments aren't always the most intense. They're the ones where she feels seen, where she feels safe to lose herself without fear, without pressure, without expectation. Take oral sex, a moment of pure giving. Done properly, with no rush and no agenda, it builds more than physical pleasure. It builds trust. It says, without a word, you are worth this. You're worth my full attention. You deserve to be explored. And that's what truly stays with a woman long after the night is over. Not the positions, not the technique, the way you made her feel. It's also worth remembering that attraction isn't always loud. A woman's deepest signals are often subtle. The way her breath changes, the softness in her voice, the way she reaches for you, the way she lingers just a little too long. And in those moments, if you're paying attention, you'll learn more about what she wants than 1,000 conversations could ever reveal. After she reaches climax, her body shifts. What once brought pleasure might feel overwhelming now. The clitoris becomes hypersensitive. This is not the time to rush or keep going out of habit. It's a time to hold her, to rest, to let the moment settle, to show her that her experience isn't just a task for you, it's a shared journey. Even something as simple as kissing tells her everything she needs to know about you. A man's kiss reveals his presence, his confidence, his attentiveness. It's not about technique, it's about whether you're really there. And what she craves more than anything is a man who is truly there, emotionally present, unafraid of silence, grounded in his desires, but gentle with hers, not pretending to be perfect, not performing, but showing up, flaws, vulnerabilities, and all. Because intimacy is never about perfection, it's about connection. And connection, real connection, requires presence, clarity, patience, and emotional maturity. It's why reckless, aggressive behaviors glamorized in media are often more harmful than thrilling. Passion without care is dangerous. Over 600 people are hospitalized in the U.S. every year because of unsafe practices during sex, often because people mistake dominance for desire. The truth? Desire without consent is nothing. When a woman feels unsafe, she doesn't just pull away physically, she emotionally disconnects. And nothing kills intimacy faster than that. Over 95% of women dislike having their hair pulled or head grabbed during oral, not because they're fragile, but because it removes their ability to feel in control of their own pleasure. What she wants is freedom, not force. And fantasies like threesomes, often glamorized, are far more emotionally complex than many realize. Without clarity, boundaries, and open communication, what begins as curiosity can quickly spiral into jealousy, regret, and emotional distance. At the heart of all this is a simple, universal truth. When a woman feels safe, she opens, not just her body, but her heart. And that's where the deepest intimacy lives. Pleasure tools like vibrators aren't signs of dissatisfaction. They're signs of confidence. Around 20% of women use them regularly, not because something's missing, but because they understand their own bodies. A man who welcomes that, who learns from it and sees it as a partnership rather than a threat, becomes unforgettable. Because her pleasure is not a competition. It's a shared experience, and when she feels supported in that, she becomes fully herself with you. Orgasm isn't just a physical release, it's a release of emotion, tension, and stress. Her heart rate spikes, endorphins flood her body, pain lessens, worry fades, and in those moments, you're not just her lover, you're her sanctuary. And you step into that role not by trying to be someone else, but by being fully yourself. Present, calm, gentle, decisive, open. Because confidence with kindness is magnetic, and in a world full of noise and bravado, a man who knows what he wants and is kind enough to share it gently stands out. Women don't need perfection, they need presence. I want to take you to dinner. I want to hold you. I want to know you better. Simple phrases, but said with sincerity, they open doors nothing else can. In the end, it's not about chasing perfection, it's about chasing connection. And it's never too late. Not at 30, not at 50, not at 70. Because desire doesn't disappear with age. It evolves. And the man who understands this, who embraces the quieter, richer kind of intimacy that comes with time, becomes the kind of man a woman never forgets. Of course, let's beautifully wrap this up for you. And as this man over 50 continues on this quiet, personal journey, something remarkable happens. The more he sheds the outdated ideas of what he thought it meant to be attractive, the more magnetic he becomes. Not because he's louder, younger, or flashier, but because he's rooted, steady, and unmistakably present. He begins to notice how women respond differently now, not to the size of his gestures or the sharpness of his lines, but to the warmth in his eyes, the calm in his voice, and the sincerity in his touch. Conversations feel richer, moments of silence feel more comfortable. Every glance, every word exchanged carries more weight, more meaning. One evening, sitting on a quiet porch beneath a canopy of stars, he realizes something that would have escaped him in his younger years. It's not the fireworks that leave the deepest marks, it's the steady glow, the quiet presence, the feeling of truly being seen and accepted. The woman beside him reaches out, brushing her fingers against his, not needing words. In that small, simple gesture is a whole language, one of trust, warmth, and desire that isn't rushed or performed, but deeply felt. And in that moment, he understands the most powerful thing a man can offer a woman isn't perfection, performance, or constant excitement. It's presence. It's the ability to say without speaking, "I'm here. I see you. I want you, not as a fantasy, but as you are." Because real intimacy isn't built on flawless bodies or clever lines. It's built on honesty, patience, trust, and the quiet kind of confidence that doesn't need to prove anything. And so, his story doesn't end with some grand conquest or dramatic revelation. It ends and begins with a steady, lasting kind of connection, one that deepens over time, that makes space for imperfection, and that grows richer with every year. He becomes unforgettable, not because he chased youth, but because he embraced presence. And that, more than anything, is what women remember, because it was never about being perfect, it was always about being real. And in being real, he finally found everything he'd been searching for.